The year is 1934. America groans under the weight of the Great Depression. Dust storms choke the heartland, banks fail, men despair, and in this crucible of hardship, a new breed of outlaw emerges, men and women who live by their wits, defying convention and courting danger. They are the bank robbers, and their exploits captivate a nation yearning for heroes and hungry for distraction. But this is not just the story of any outlaws. This is the tale of a heist so audacious, so meticulously planned, and so brazen in its execution that it shook the foundations of the United States government. It was a robbery aimed not just at stealing riches, but at challenging authority itself. This is the story of the time when outlaws didn't just rob a bank, they declared war on the Federal Reserve. Leading the charge was John Dillinger, a charismatic gangster with a boyish grin and a reputation that preceded him. He was a man who seemed to thrive on the thrill of the chase, always one step ahead of the law. With nerves of steel and a flair for the dramatic, Dillinger was already a legend, his name whispered in speakeasies and shadowy corners of the underworld. His exploits were the stuff of folklore, splashed across front pages. His gang, a motley crew of hardened criminals and desperate dreamers, were the rock stars of their day. They were idolized by some, feared by many, and their audacious heists captivated the public's imagination. The gang's daring escapades made headlines, and they became folk heroes to a public weary of the Great Depression. Yet they were also a source of fear, their notoriety growing with each brazen act. They were pursued relentlessly by the law, a cat-and-mouse game that seemed to have no end. On the other side of this escalating conflict stood J. Edgar Hoover, the ambitious young director of the Bureau of Investigation, the forerunner to the FBI. Hoover saw in Dillinger and his ilk a threat not just to law and order, but to his own burgeoning power. He vowed to bring them down, whatever the cost, making Dillinger public enemy number one. Hoover's determination was unyielding. He launched a nationwide manhunt, employing every resource at his disposal. The stage was set for a showdown, a clash of wills that would pit cunning against force, desperation against determination, and capture the imagination of a nation on the brink. The public watched with bated breath as the drama unfolded, a real-life saga that seemed more like fiction. This was more than just a battle between cops and robbers. It was a defining moment in American history, a story of ambition, defiance, and the relentless pursuit of justice. The target was not just any bank, it was the Federal Reserve Bank of Chicago, a symbol of American economic might, and, to Dillinger, the embodiment of the system that had failed so many. The plan was audacious, bordering on insane. It involved meticulous reconnaissance, military precision, and a healthy dose of old-fashioned luck. Dillinger and his gang spent weeks casing the bank, studying its routines, mapping its security systems, and even posing as businessmen to gain access to its inner workings. They procured an arsenal of weapons, from Tommy guns to dynamite, and even acquired a police radio to monitor their pursuers. The date was set, January 2, 1934. The die was cast. Section 4. Echoes of the Vault. The morning air was crisp as Dillinger's gang, disguised as police officers, stormed the bank. Their entrance was swift, their movements practiced, their faces hidden behind masks of determination. Taking hostages to ensure compliance, they herded employees and customers alike into the main hall. For a heart-stopping hour, the sound of drilling echoed through the marble halls of the Federal Reserve as Dillinger's men worked feverishly to crack the vault. Tension hung heavy in the air, a palpable sense of dread mixed with a strange exhilaration. But something was wrong. The vault door, fortified beyond their expectations, refused to yield. Time was running out. The alarm had been tripped. Sirens wailed in the distance, growing ever closer. Section 5. The long arm of the law strikes back. As the first police cars screeched to a halt outside the bank, the tension in the air was palpable. A fierce gun battle erupted, bullets flying in every direction. Dillinger's gang, their escape route cut off, found themselves trapped like rats in a cage. They fought with the fury of cornered animals, their desperation evident in every shot fired, the air filled with the deafening staccato of gunfire and the shattering of glass. Outnumbered and outgunned, the gang was in dire straits. Dillinger knew the game was up. The realization hit him hard, but surrender was not in his nature. Gathering his men, he prepared for one last stand. He made a desperate dash for freedom, guns blazing, hoping against hope for a miracle. They piled into their waiting getaway car, the engine roaring to life. Leaving a trail of chaos and carnage in their wake, they sped off into the night. The streets of Chicago became a battleground, echoing with the sounds of conflict. As the gang, pursued by a growing army of police officers and federal agents, tore through the city, the chase intensified. Their escape was a blur of speed, gunfire, and near misses, a chaotic dance of life and death. It was a testament to their daring and desperation, a dramatic chapter in the annals of crime. Section 6. Chasing Shadows, Leaving Legends. Despite their best efforts, the law was closing in. One by one, members of Dillinger's gang were captured or killed. Dillinger himself, wounded and exhausted, became a phantom, his face plastered on wanted posters across the country. For months he evaded capture, his legend growing with each daring escape. But his days of freedom were numbered. On July 22, 1934, betrayed by a confidant and cornered in a Chicago alley, John Dillinger, public enemy number 1, was shot and killed by federal agents. The reign of terror was over, but the legend had just begun. Section 7. The Allure of the Heist. The Dillinger gang's failed heist of the Federal Reserve Bank of Chicago sent shockwaves throughout the nation. It was a bold move, one that showcased their audacity and willingness to challenge the establishment. The heist was meticulously planned, yet it unraveled in a matter of moments, leaving the gang scrambling and the public in awe. It was a stark reminder of the fragility of peace and order in a time of turmoil, and the lengths to which desperation could drive men. The Great Depression had left many feeling hopeless, and the Dillinger gang's actions resonated with those who felt abandoned by the system. But it was more than just a crime. It was a spectacle, a thrilling, terrifying display of audacity and defiance that captured the imagination of a nation grappling with its own demons. The media frenzy that followed only added to the allure, painting Dillinger and his gang as larger-than-life figures. The Dillinger gang may have failed to rob the bank, but they succeeded in something far more enduring. They etched their names into the annals of American folklore, becoming symbols of rebellion and resistance. They became folk heroes, symbols of rebellion against a system that seemed rigged against the common man. Their exploits were recounted in newspapers, radio broadcasts, and eventually, movies, cementing their place in popular culture. Their story, passed down through generations, continues to fascinate and inspire, a testament to the enduring allure of the outlaw, the rebel, the individual who dares to challenge the status quo. The legend of John Dillinger and his gang serves as a reminder of the power of myth and the human desire for stories of defiance. The heist of the Federal Reserve may have failed, but the legend of John Dillinger, the boy from Indiana who took on the might of the United States government, lives on. His story is a blend of fact and fiction, a narrative that continues to captivate and intrigue long after the dust has settled.